I've had to remove every single social tie. I had severe PTSD from this. I contemplated suicide. It got really bad. You feel like any little piece of information that gets out on you will be used by the worst people on the internet to destroy your life. And it's so isolating.
And terrifying.
It's horrifying. I'm so
That's fine.
It's really hard.
It's almost as terrifying and isolating as the people that they hunt down, throw in jail, and do worse things to. Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. My name's Luke Radowski here of wearechange.org, and there's a lot of absolutely wild and crazy news to get into today. As of course, a lot of people are being arrested, apprehended, and being thrown in jail, all for daring to question things. Yes, you heard that correctly, as the United States just reached another level of idiocracy and started more political prosecution of individuals, not just in the political sphere, but also in the real estate market. What's going on? Well, we're going to be talking about that, as well as the latest bombshell video sent out by Elon Musk, all on this independent media organization. If you like the shirt that I'm wearing, you could get it on thebestpoliticalshirts.com. And the clip that we played in the beginning of this broadcast was done by the extremely talented C3P Meme, an individual whose YouTube channel we are going to be linking down in the description below, so you could subscribe to their amazing, incredibly done meme warfare material that absolutely deserves more subscribers than it's getting right now. I mean, these numbers are way too low. C3P Meme does incredible work. Go subscribe to their channel. The link to it is down in the description below, as their depictions of the traumatized politicians are almost as traumatized as their victims, as of course we still have a full-on proxy conflict unfolding right now in Europe that is escalating to grand proportions as the Ukrainians are taking their offensive to Russia, where the country is taking steps in evacuating women and children from bordering towns since the Ukrainians have been making attacks on them. This, as Russian territory is now in question here, something that the president of Russia has clearly described as a clear red line for him. This, as the United States is bankrolling and financing this conflict while also launching another one on the people here of the United States, as we keep getting crazy story after crazy story of squatters, individuals who are taking advantage of the very vague laws implemented by woke politicians and district attorneys who fail to prosecute them. As now it looks like there is more and more organized individuals literally stealing other people's homes and using squatting rights as an excuse in order to justify their larger thefts of property. As this moment was recently captured in places like New York City, where a woman literally had her house stolen from her, and after kicking out illegal people who, of course, occupied her own home, was promptly arrested for doing so. The video now, which is from ABC News 7 in New York City, highlights an extremely crazy situation that many Americans are going through every single day in major frustration, where their property is taken and they're arrested as well, after people literally barge into their homes and then claim legalese, squatting rights, and literally have homeowners arrested from their own homes.
I don't own this.
Exactly,
Yes,
she does.
Yes, but then once again, you should know how the law works.
I do know how it works.
There's rules to the as you got to go to court and send me to civil court.
He says he signed a lease in October, but wouldn't tell us with who.
I got proof longer than that.
Show us the proof.
But who are you for me to show? I showed it to cops.
Dan with Channel 7 News. If you don't want to show it, you don't want to show it.
Proof. Come here, brother. I like that.
I would like to see it.
He didn't show me a lease.
This is a bill.
A bill for work he says he had done to the house. He didn't show police a lease either.
The police department doesn't have the lease?
No.
He's got no documentation.
Just bills.
So Adele, you're getting arrested right now?
I'm being arrested
For what?
for being in my own home.
And where's your lease?
She's fighting the house. It's not her house anymore.
My deed
That's
is
what it was
current
told
and
to me.
legal.
Arrested for unlawful eviction. She changed the locks on a man who claims he lives there.
So how does this all end then? When do you leave?
The way it ends is either she pays me my money that I put into the house, pay me the money, and I'll leave, or send me to court, and we deal with the judge in court. It's that simple.
It's not that simple. It's a long process. Evictions can take close to 2 years to.
Yeah, as it's fair to say that just like in the Chinese Cultural Revolution, there's a war on property owners that, of course, is only going to be ramping up as there's a lot of overt and underhanded ways where the system is trying to de-incentivize and punish people for owning anything. And whether it's BlackRock buying up all the properties, working with the big banks, screwing people over from even having the ability to buy their own home, what's happening here is increasingly worrying to a lot of people that are being screwed over. Other people that are being screwed over by the system are people who, of course, express their political opinions, like Isabella DeLuca, a social media influencer, enthusiast of cooking, and, of course, renowned Trump supporter that was arrested and now is being prosecuted for being allegedly near or in the Capitol on January 6th. This as extensive video is showing this young woman, showing her committing no acts of violence, as the DOJ is now going after her with many charges, which many people are seeing as a chilling message to anyone who dares dissent against this administration, that they will be fully punished for daring to express opinions that the political system just doesn't like. This as Isabella took to social media and described how she had multiple federal agents show up at her home, handcuff, shackle her, bring her into custody, and officially charging her, which Isabella responded by, of course, setting up a Give, Send, Go fundraiser for herself, trying to raise now money for legal fees, as many people who, of course, are being politically prosecuted by the Biden administration are finding a very difficult time even trying to retain a lawyer to defend them in court, as even many lawyers who represented the former president of the United States, Donald Trump, also face political prosecution and charges themselves in some states. Now, you might be asking yourself, what's the crime that this young woman committed? Well, according to the Associated Press, she helped pass a stolen table out of a broken window. And now this young 24-year-old woman faces the full might of the Department of Justice, the FBI, and the Biden administration that are going to be heavily prosecuting her. And as we saw with the J6 court trials, face a very heavy-handed legal situation that, of course, will be trying to take away her freedom. As now more than 1,300 people have been charged with this Capitol-related riot, 800 of them have been sentenced, as the FBI and DOJ have announced that they're going to be going after everyone that they can for their alleged involvement in this riot. As, of course, that's not the only person who is being politically prosecuted, as, of course, former White House advisor Peter Navarro today is reporting to prison in Miami, Florida, after being sentenced and found guilty of, quote, defying a subpoena. When it comes to the investigation into January 6th, Peter Navarro decided not to comply. He was found guilty of not complying and therefore is now being sent to jail after the U.S. Supreme Court ruled against him, as it's not just people in the United States being punished politically, but also in Brazil, where the federal police there are accusing the former president of that country, Jair Bolsonaro, of falsifying his compliance documents regarding a procedure that the government was forcing people to take a few years ago. Yes, you're hearing this correctly. The former president of Brazil is being indicted and facing charges for lying about a medical procedure that the state was extorting people to take. This says, of course, the former president of Brazil also is a close ally to Donald Trump, who is facing a lot of financial pressures, as CNBC News is reporting that he is having a hard time securing the $454 million appeal bond in the New York fraud case that a judge found him guilty in. This, as the former president of the United States is facing a lot of serious legal battles and financial concerns and issues, as his major opponent, the current president of the United States, doesn't have to do any of that. As the former president of the United States has to be in court, the current president who's running against him gets to campaign, gets to keep all of his money, gets a lot of donor funds, gets a lot of money for the special interest groups, and the former president of the United States, according to many reports, is having a hard time even just financing his own legal battles that many states and federal prosecutors are going after him for. As a lot of people have said, what's happening right now with Donald Trump is akin to election interference, as of course it is making a major impact on this election, and it is preventing this man from being able to run a campaign. And whether you like this man or you don't like this man, it doesn't matter. What's happening here is very underhanded. Even though I criticized him before, I think it's absolutely unfair what's happening to him. As now, a lot of reports are coming in that he will be forced to sell off some of his assets in order to pay $454 million in the New York fraud fine that he is going to try to appeal, as his lawyers are revealing that he can't even cover the bond on this. As of course, a lot of people, including financial institutions and lawyers, are afraid of associating with him, mainly because they were politically targeted before. This, as it's fair to say that we have entered a new battleground of legal lawfare where the Republicans are absolutely losing and they're getting their butts handed to them from a court system that, in my opinion, is being rigged against them. This, as other hyperbolic, sensationalistic media figures like Keith Olbermann have even taken the social media to go even as far as to hope that the former president of the United States, Donald Trump, would be taken out. Yes, you heard that correctly. Very violent, hateful speech rhetoric from Keith Olbermann, an ex-MSNBC news anchor, who said that, quote, "There's always the hope that the former president of the United States, Donald Trump, could be treated worse than the assassinated president of the United States, Abraham Lincoln." Very hateful words, which kind of do highlight the larger sentiment of a lot of establishment boozy limousine liberals that have essentially turned to political extremism within the last few years, as the polarization of our political justice system has definitely been weaponized against the American public in many vicious, nasty ways. Something that, of course, we call out and have been calling out for a very long time, essentially describing a larger divide and conquer agenda that is right in front of our eyes. And in my opinion, sadly, there's no going back from. But what can you do now? Well, that's something that, of course, we talk about on LukeUnfiltered.com, our own members area where we release specialized information and video reports meant to help you make the right decision during very difficult times. We strive to give you the best information to make you the happiest, healthiest, most best version of yourself through, of course, conversations that are unfiltered, uncensored, and that we could actually have in a real way on our own platform. That platform, LukeUnfiltered.com, your membership's more crucially important than ever. Sign up right now, and you guys signing up helps people build communities in their local towns. We have a forum where people could meet, share their location, talk to each other. We do in real life meetups where literally we sit down, break bread, we work on projects. We're working on a project with some of the people that we met from the last meetup. We're going to be doing another meetup very soon here in Southern Florida. Be a part of that meetup. Show up in real life. Meet some real friends, all on LukeUnfiltered.com. And if you can't do it, your support, you signing up, helps facilitate those larger networks, those larger building of friendships, all here on LukeUnfiltered.com. As in today's video, a special report, we will be talking about, of course, physical exercise, the exercises we do, and specifically talking about physical health with the one and only Ian Crossland. That video available should be available right after this one, only for members of LukeUnfiltered.com, our quasi-not-so-quasi secret society that, of course, you could be a part of right now in many different ways. The simplest of ways is $8. The medium way is $15. The best way is $99 through your memberships, all on LukeUnfiltered.com. The conversation starts right after this one, centered towards helping you become an absolutely incredible version of yourself that will start today with our own physical health journey that we will go into great detail with. This, as America faces a lot of uncertainty moving forward. There's a lot of problems ahead of us as Elon Musk took to his social media platform, Twitter, and said, quote, "This is actually happening," highlighting a video from @WesternLensman, who titled this video, quote, "The Democrat Open Borders Plan to Entrench Single-Party Rule, Explained in Under 2 Minutes. As we're going to be playing this video right now to highlight a situation that Elon Musk believes is worth sharing with his audience.
The Democrat open borders plan to entrench single-party rule, explained in under 2 minutes. 1. Flood the country with untold millions of illegals by land, sea, and air from all over the world, enough to eclipse the populations of 36 individual U.S. states so far. 2. Prioritize the needs of these millions of non-citizens over the needs of the American citizen, with free flights, buses, hotels, meals, and phones, ensuring their loyalty to the political party that imported them. 3. Keep them in the country at all costs, even when they commit violent crime like and attack the language used to describe the criminals, as opposed to the criminals themselves. Slander critics as racist. 4. Ensure their privileges are made irrevocable with city and state sanctuary laws that act as population magnets. Codify permanent status and ensure non-cooperation with ICE. 5. Count the non-citizens in the census that will determine congressional apportionment in the House of Representatives. As of now, that would equal 13 extra congressional districts, a tremendous amount of electoral power. 6. Wage a massive, heavily funded lawfare campaign to change state voting laws that legalize mass mail-in ballots, no signature verification, and no proof of citizenship requirements, making it nearly impossible to prove voter fraud. 7. Lock in the permanent voting majority with campaign promises of lavish benefits and permanent privileges, enshrining generational fealty to the Democrat Party. 8. Win elections. 9. Entrenched single-party rule has been achieved. The best part? Your tax dollars are paying for it.
And, yep, that's exactly what is happening here. As of course, I'm going to follow this video content creator as he described pretty much exactly what we've been screaming about for a very long time here on this independent media platform in under 2 minutes in a very concise way that I think the American public could fully understand here. As of course, it's not just the legal threat that we're facing from the more intel-connected Democratic Party establishment, but also their single one-party rule over this country, which they look to entrench themselves with forever through, of course, weaponized human trafficking that is happening right now on the southern border. Human trafficking that is affecting a lot of American citizens in many different ways, not just when it comes to, of course, increasing the cost of housing, as of course it becomes more sparse, decreasing the cost of labor, as of course it becomes more abundant, but also more importantly, literally taking away jobs from Americans and replacing it with illegal immigrants that, of course, will work for a lot less than American citizens and now get a lot more benefits, as Tyson Foods just announced that they're going to be closing their plant in Iowa, as they're going to be hiring 42,000 illegal immigrant workers. They just closed down a plant that made 1,200 American citizens lose their job, and they're joining with a nonprofit organization that will now hire refugees or illegal immigrants, as they really are, as they announced to hire more than 180,000 migrants, as already 42,000 of their 120,000 U.S. employees are already immigrants, and they look to increase that number to a fully illegal immigrant workforce, which, of course, will allow them to get away with paying them very little. As, again, I've been saying for this for a very long time, so have individuals like Bernie Sanders, that this larger immigration plot is largely a plot by multinational corporations in order to set up essentially slave labor. This, as also an Obama-appointed federal judge just ruled that illegal immigrants also have a right to carry firearms, a right that is usually taken away in many democratic areas from American citizens. Now, you add that to the fact of larger DEI efforts. You add that to the fact of the First Amendment being directly under attack by even Supreme Court justices that were appointed by Barack Obama. You add that to what's happening in other parts of the Western world where people are being arrested for sharing information, even in private chat groups that the government doesn't like. You're seeing where America's headed towards, and it's not a good place. It's a very dangerous place. It's a place that, of course, doesn't allow free speech. It doesn't allow people to actually communicate with each other. It doesn't allow people to express opinions because they will be fully prosecuted for doing so. A place that, of course, isn't tolerant, isn't just, isn't democratic, and it's the exact opposite of everything that the people who have been keeping all the power for themselves are pledging that it will be. It is totalitarian, it is Orwellian, it is destructive, it is reductive, it is not progressive, it is doing nothing but degressing, destroying, and eliminating the human spirit that thrives off of freedom. And that right there is absolutely infuriating. And if you agree, share this video with your friends and family members, especially the ones who are on the fence, especially the ones who are not paying attention to what's going on, because if you're not paying attention to it, you're probably already a victim of it. Our voice, our acquiescence, our consent absolutely matters. And this is why we need to share independent media more than ever. I got one more video coming your way on lookUnfiltered.com. Stay tuned for that, plus a lot more, all here on wearechange.org. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys doing that, and that's why I love you guys. Stay tuned for more.